Okay. Move it over because I don't want it to fall over. Okay, so it's live here. Push it down a little bit. There you go. So it's live here. So it's over. Be right back. You're actually period. Okay, so I'm gonna. You think this is gonna work?
As long as you follow the video, I guess it will.
I didn't follow a video, but somebody shared a live from some other page.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Hold on. Okay. Okay. It's there. So it's actually there. Okay, let me work fast real quick. Okay. All right. Work fast. Ah. I hope I don't fall off this chair. Ah. All right. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear us at all or not, but okay. All right. So, hello everybody. My name is Michelle. I go by Butterfly Spirit on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, and this is.
I'm Anwan, which I go by Anwan Your Hero on YouTube.
All right. So, I'm a little nervous because I've never kind of gone live on anybody else's group before, but I digress, or whatever. So this is kind of coming from my personal group that I have, Butterfly Spirit and stuff. So I kind of wanted to talk to people because basically, truth be told, it's hard to be spiritual. It actually is. I noticed a lot of people, like when I posted something on the Ryan Carper group, that was called, it was like a video that I posted from my YouTube channel that I want to share with you guys, which is, it was called, Is Being Spiritual a Trend? And I did make a response video to that, which I believe I posted on here, posted on the Ryan Carper Friends group yesterday. But I noticed that a lot of people commented thinking it was a post and me asking a question, but it wasn't really me asking a question. It was more of me posting a video that I did and, trying to get people to watch my video that is on YouTube, to kind of inform you guys about something that I've noticed in terms of people seeing being spiritual as a trend. And I've noticed a lot of people doing that. And to clarify what I mean, is that there are a lot of people who are basically, more or less, they are, getting crystals, or they are wearing spiritual dress, or they are trying to think of what else they're doing. They are saying spiritual things, but they are not really like full on spiritual. You have some people who are basically from organized religion and are Christians, but they are using spiritual stuff or whatever, kind of trying it out, but they're really not devoted to being spiritual, so to speak. Okay. And basically, that's kind of what I mean, but we'll talk more about what that means. So the title of this video is called "It's Hard to Be Spiritual," and it is. The way that we both came to be spiritual is probably different than maybe a lot of people have come to it. Okay. So we started off as Christian people. We were Christians for a long time. I have Christian people on both sides of my family. And basically, it's something where if I were to come out to people in my family to say that I was spiritual, meaning that I'm not Christian, then they would think that it was something wrong with me. Okay. Because everybody has always been, Christians in my family. I was even Christian to myself. Okay. But up until I would say a couple of years ago, I was a Christian. And what happened is that I left Christianity. And I started to go down a spiritual path. Okay. Now, what a lot of people don't know is when you are somebody who you left Christianity and now you're taking on spirituality, it's tough. It's not easy. It isn't, because you really can't lose people in your family because you are not a part of the same religion as people in your family. This is very, very true. Okay. It is, in my family, I can't help but say it because my brother and my sister, they're still Christian, even though I come to them with information about stuff like the Bible and stuff like that, stuff that I'm learning. They still do not, they still want to stay into it, even though I've learned new stuff about it and understand like the Bible, church, and what it really all is. Okay. And so, I mean, theoretically, it's a lot more than what people really think. A lot of people think you can, jump into, spirituality. And I've discovered that you can't, because you have people like the Buddhist monks, the Hindu monks, and people who are really deeply spiritual, really deeply spiritual. And you will notice that those people are more, they're more open-minded, and they have a deep understanding about other different types of faiths and stuff like that. They understand that there are, but they understand that there are things that are connected and stuff like that. And they have that real deep connection that a lot of people don't know how they get it. And they get it from learning about other types of beliefs that are different from their own, and they actually go and think about those deeper questions, deeper things that a lot of people do not want to do, on my spiritual journey. When I began it, I had to do it. But I guess what I want to do is I'm probably going to go back into that. But first, since I've been talking for a long time, I'm going to let Anwan here talk about his spiritual journey, like how he went from being a Christian to being spiritual, meaning he is no longer Christian and he's on a path that is counter to what others around us would understand. So, tell them about your, like, how you got out of Christianity and how you come to be in spirituality at this point.
Well, first thing I did was I decided to read the Bible for myself. Since I kept going to Bible study and they always would start off at a certain point. So basically what sparked me to even leave to to actually embrace myself as being spiritual instead of pushing it away, because I've always had paranormal experiences all the time.
Since you were born.
Since I was born, even my birth wasn't normal. I didn't show for my mom and things like that in her belly or anything like that. I came back with totally different memories of thinking I was already in heaven. I thought this was heaven because before I was born, I got asked if I wanted to see the kingdom of God, and I said yes. Next thing I know, I'm in my mom's womb, which I didn't even know it was that at first. But I'm gonna just tell you what made me leave. What made me leave was
Christianity.
Well, what made me leave Christianity was when the pastor told me, God will bless you, and Jesus will bless you if you put tithe in and you put money in the pot. And I said, okay. So I put some rent money in there, thinking, okay, if I take a risk, then my blessing's going to be even better.
Mm.
Well, that same week, lost my dream job that she found for me. Working on computers was my dream job. Lost that. And I didn't get anything better. No blessing ever came. Even till this day right now, no blessing ever came. So he lied to me big time. Got the money, just took it, So I was like, well, dang, nothing's working. So it must be because I must not be Christian enough. So it must be, I gotta read this whole Bible. I gotta read this whole thing. Yes, that's my personal one. I know it's tabbed up, but I study it.
Yeah, push it over real quick
so
you can see it. Okay.
So I was like, I gotta read this whole Bible. So I start reading, and I got to look through the first 5 books, and I realized that all the stuff that I told my pastor about my abuse and stuff like that. But if you want to go through all that, listening to all that stuff, know more about that. That's on L1 Your Hero on YouTube, okay, which is me. See my face? That's what it is. It's about the abuse and the paranormal stuff and how the Bible dealt with it, okay? I don't pull any punches. I tell the complete truth because somebody else is going through that hard stuff, okay? But I ended up reading it, and I got through the first 5 books, and I had a problem with my pastor because he told me it was Satan. He told me it was demons that was making me go through all those abuses and rapes and all that stuff with me and my sister. So what ended up happening was that, I was not happy with him. And I ended up going to him saying you lied to me. You told me you told me it was Satan and that it was demons. And that was treating me like this. But when I read it, it was ordained by God. So all that praying, it finally made sense to me. All that praying I did through all those hardships, all those 10 years without rest. Because when I say without rest, I mean you can't sleep. Because when you try to sleep, they hit you. And you didn't sleep, or they try to do something to you in your sleep. You don't get to sleep.
What does?
The abusers do.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not going to explain it here because it's very long. Okay. So if you want to go to those different sections on my YouTube, you can. But everything that they told me to try, they tell you the Bible says, tell the truth and truth will set you free. I tried that, something bad happened. They told me that if I got baptized, that Jesus will have his hand of protection on me. The shield of protection of Jesus and blood of Jesus and God on me, right? So after I got baptized, I got possessed by something. Or something got inside my body. It was possessed or something, and I felt like I weighed 25 more pounds. So when I tried that, that's what happened. They told me if you get in any trouble, just pray to Jesus. Well, sister was getting raped, and I prayed to Jesus, and it got worse and worse as the more I prayed to Jesus, and he never came. No Jesus revealed himself to me or my sister or in that situation ever.
Okay.
They told me the truth will set you free. And when I went through realization, I told my dad about what happened. He punched me in the chest 3 times, and he said, are you gay now? And I was out of breath, and I told him that you're just like my abuser, the other one.
Okay.
So I tried everything already. Everything that they tell you to do.
In church.
Pray in church, yeah. Pray, get baptized. So there's nothing left for me, So and that's what I realized after reading it myself. Once I found out that God ordained it, and I'm not going to worship this dude no more. If he's an abuser too, I'm out of the door.
Okay.
So pretty much that's what happened. And then I started, next thing I did, I started researching this person named Real Markable.
Well, you did something before that.
What?
Because what happened first, before he got onto the YouTube or the Remarkable, what happened was is that, so me and Anwan sat down with the pastor, and his wife, and basically what happened is we were, they wanted to know, because Anwan told them that he was leaving the church, and they wanted to know why. So we kind of, Anwan spoke his reasons for why he was leaving, and then the pastor said, "Oh well, you have to, go back to the original roots and study Greek and the stuff or whatever in the Bible. You have to do that first, and then you understand the word, and then you'll get everything." But then what Anwan said was that, well, why would I have to do that if...
Yeah, because he never said that. He never told anybody that the whole 2 years I was going to that one particular church. And I've been to 12 trying to tell my story about my paranormal experience, trying to get answers. And they've never, like I said, I'm just now seeing it, but they've never infused spirituality, anything spiritual, paranormal. They've never infused it with Christianity, ever. It was always of Satan. It was always of demons.
Yeah.
Always. So they're on some type of slick stuff right now, because I think a lot more people is coming out with their experiences, and they don't want you to come across the real ones, So they're trying to infuse it. But
so you're with your pastor. So
yeah,
what did you tell your pastor?
You just got to read the Bible. Read the Bible. Read it. That's all you got to do, and it will change your life. Well, I mean, it did change my life.
Yeah.
And I realized that he was a liar. He lied about everything for 2 years straight. Like, how am I ever going to trust you? You kept that lie going for so long, and you knew.
Okay.
But it's just like, it's like that. And now my gifts, my gifts to see shadows and things like that, or light shadows, that was gone when I was attending, because I ended up saying, I said my full name, give 100% of my life to this biblical God, Jesus person. Okay. When I did that, I went back home and I sat down in the chair, like right over there. And I got this image in my head when I felt this impact, it felt like I got punched kind of, and my head went like this. And I felt this impact, and something grabbed, like I felt a hand grabbing clothes inside of my brain and go out the left side of my brain. And instantly I couldn't see anything anymore. My gifts that I used to help my mom out, seeing the future, stuff like that. The spiritual gifts that I came in here with that was original, original to you, originally me, it's part of me. It took part of me, something did. Now, I didn't know about astral projection then, so I guess somebody or something, did that.
Okay.
So
going back.
So when I went back to church, and I told them about that type of stuff, and it was all like, "Yay, your gifts are gone." Like, no, that's not a good thing. I've always had that as a part of it. So what I had to do was, I was like, I had to type in, how do I get my abilities back? And it's like through meditation. So that's what I did. Every night before going to sleep for like a week straight, I went 30 minutes every night before going to sleep. I would meditate, just focus on my breathing, have my eyes closed, and I had a mask over my eyes. And that's all I would do. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go back to church. And I went to the altar, and all I kept seeing was these alien faces in front of me. And I was like, because I was wanting to see what took my gifts, what took my ability to see spirits. And that's what it was. So I left, and I left for good.
But going back to the discussion with the pastor, so to reiterate for people, the discussion me and Anwan had with the pastor and his wife, where the pastor said, well, you have to go back to the original stuff, read the Bible, go back to, the Greeks and Romans and stuff or whatever. This is something Anwan had not heard before or whatever. And when Anwan and I left the discussion, or whatever, and, the pastor had been critical to Anwan and has said, oh, well, if you leave church, then, you'll never find a job, you'll never do this and that. Well, Anwan did end up finding a job that he would, that he was at for, a year or so or whatever. I think it was like a year, or whatever. And the pastor was wrong. Okay. I think the problem is that a lot of people think that these pastors supposedly know a lot of stuff, and they know, they have a unique bond with, supposedly with, a Christian God that's going to do stuff or whatever. That's what people think, but the truth is they don't. And actually, pastors, the way that pastors even become pastors is they go to college. And then after that, they, get their own church or something like that and try to get people to start attending. Okay, that's how it works.
Now, I didn't know that in the beginning, I just found that out like when I was attending back like 2 years ago or something like that because of somebody, a kid that came in.
Well, it's a teenager.
A teenager came in or young adult said that he was going to Bible college, and I didn't even know that this was a career. I didn't know it was a, it didn't click because I went like I've been to like 12 different churches around different cities because I lived in different places, and so they've always told me not to tell my story because I'm ruining their business. That's what they would always say, and I had no idea it was a business. I thought it was something that was real. But and that's the way that they professed it. They profess it as like it's real. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why it's hard to be spiritual, because it's hard to even find your group of other people like you just starting out.
So let's go back. So after he left the church, after we walked out the church, and I told Anwan, I said, well, Anwan, because Anwan was still thinking along the lines of Christianity and stuff. And I said, Anwan, if it was really true that you were supposed to go back to the original, what the original people who wrote the Bible was talking about and researching it, why didn't your pastor tell you that when you first started going to church? And Anwan was like, you know what, Michelle, you're right.
Yeah.
Nobody ever told me that. And this is one of the things that had gotten Anwan to start researching, right? This is one of the things. And what did you start researching?
Well, I started to research my history, Black history. Well, actually, the first thing I did was I researched the Bible not being true or pastors lying, and I found this video about the Real Merkaba going in to Black history and how the Bible, screwed up Black people throughout history, and it like infused the spiritual aspects of the Black history with the Bible, okay, and then it twisted it and then made it wrong. So and I was like,
you found it on another guy's channel.
Yeah, I found it on another person's channel,
and then you was led to the Real Merkaba.
And then I was, that's right. And then I was led to the Real Merkaba because the Real Merkaba's video was on another person's channel. The first video I saw was, "You won't believe in Christianity anymore after seeing this."
Okay.
And then I had to find out who that person was because I was like, whoa, I didn't know that the Bible was stolen from ancient Egypt. I didn't know that some of the stuff was stolen. I didn't know all this theory. I didn't know that all the other nations was, coming to ancient Egypt. I didn't even know that Egypt was Black. I felt I had a stigmatism about my own skin and everything else about it.
So before he was also researching into other stuff because I saw you watching the Spirit Science. That was one of the first things I saw you looking at. Spirit Science is on YouTube. It's basically some videos. It's basically a YouTube channel called Spirit Science, and they talk about they go back and talk about like how the beginning, like how the universe was created. They talk about the earth, what the culture's like on the earth and stuff like that, going all the way through history up into currently like right now and stuff like that. And they talk about different stuff on Spirit Science and stuff like that. It's more scientific, but it is something that is cool because they have pictures and little like a little caricature and stuff that so you get kind of into it and stuff like that. And so you start watching it and stuff. I think it's really nice and really cool that they have that and stuff like that. Now, when he was watching it, he didn't know that I had saw him watching it and stuff, and I kind of got interested in what it was or whatever. He didn't really know that I was kind of getting into it.
Well, I was always afraid for her to have any spiritual experiences because it changes her whole life, and it changes the way people see you as crazy and stuff like that, and your family members and things like that. Like after I ended up telling my family members I wasn't a Christian anymore, and I knew about my Black history, I knew about how about being Black. I felt better about being Black. They didn't care about that. They no longer saw me as human. They no longer saw me as the oldest grandson as far as my grandpa was concerned, and I'm the oldest. You're my oldest son. As far as my dad is concerned, and so those things never worked out. And then I realized something. I realized that all those stuff that they said to me, they wasn't saying it to me, the real Anwan. They was only saying it to the image of me being in Christianity because I was a Christian at the time. And they really cared about me. They just cared about me being in Christianity, and that was it.
So
So you want to know how I started to get my abilities back? Well, I started researching how to do those things, and I found people like Kelly and the Raw. I found Ryan Cropper. Then I started finding Terra Nova and Meditation Bridge, and I was really looking for real world experiences only
with
with spirituality. Like
yeah.
what happened with them? What did they do? Because I have real world experience with this stuff. You know, when I heard about you popping out your body, I was like, what? I did that before, but I did that not on my own. Like I got choked by an invisible force thrown up against the wall, and I popped out, and I thought, I'm not kidding you, I thought I was dead, because I was as real was, and I was shaking people, trying to get them to wake up. It was at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get anybody to wake up.
But that's,
that was just one of the instances. Another instance was the lucid dream, you know, where I was, you know, sometimes I'm different people, you know, and I'm like, what, you know?
yeah.
And it's like a past life or something, and I have like a whole nother life. And but then like sometimes it's like where I end up becoming aware that I'm dreaming, and then like the whole dream will crumble, or it'll start waving or something, and it'll like try to kick me out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I got sucked into something. You know, a lot of my dreams was always weird. I'm always helping somebody, or I gotta save somebody, or I'm on a different planet, or you know, and I just can't. I was trying to find people like me.
Let's see. So my spiritual journey is a bit different from his. So I'll tell you guys about me. So basically my spiritual journey. So basically to start with, and I didn't really remember this until after I became spiritual. So we had both left Christianity. A lot of our family and friends don't know. But I guess like in my family, my brother, my sister, and my mom, they kind of know because of the stuff I'm starting to talk about when I'm like questioning things about the Bible and stuff or whatever. They kind of know that there's something different for me. So basically for me, so the earliest memory I can remember is I remember that I think I was an angelic being or something like that. And I came here to Earth or whatever because I came here to help the Earth, to help the people or whatever. Reason being was because, you know, I was told that they were not having much luck on Earth. And I was like, how is that possible? That, you know, the way I looked at the Earth as that particular being that I was, which I guess you call angel or whatever. I looked at it as though, like, you know, the Earth is beautiful from our perspective in spirit. That's what it was. So, you know, it was like, no, the Earth should be fine. You know, there shouldn't be any trouble with, you know, helping out, you know, with the Earth going well and trying to make sure things are going well on Earth. There shouldn't be a problem with that. But because things were not working out on Earth, I had told, and I was seeing that there was an issue. I went to support the cause to help God or the universe, or whatever. And I said that I was going to go to Earth and I was going to help out. And the next thing that I remember is after that was I remember being born. I came out into this earth or whatever. It was born. I was in a hospital. And I remember looking at the sun, or not the sun. I thought it was the sun, but I was looking up. And it was like this bright light source up there. And I thought, you know, I'm looking at it thinking, oh my gosh, it's God, you know. And I'm looking at it, whatever. The actual God, the spirit that we were talking about. Not to be confused with the Christian God. Because God is energy. Okay. So that's what I was looking up, thinking, you know, oh, it's God, you know, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? Where am I? You know? And then, you know, that's what I remember seeing. And the next memory I remember having is that I was brought home and to these people. There were these people looking at me. There was a man and a woman, and they had 2 kids. The man and the woman, the 2 kids happened to be my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister. And me, I was the 3rd child. And I was the baby, and I was sitting up on something. I don't know what I was in or what was happening, but I was sitting up in this baby, I guess thing, and they had me sitting up in like a baby chair, whatever you call it thing. I don't know, about whatever the thing is, so they could see me. Well, I might have been in the car seat still, and they were looking at me, and I guess I was looking at them. And when I was looking at them, I was able to look at them, and I was able to know who they were, what their mission was in this life. And I had known them. I mean, I knew them on a level where I knew everything there was to know about them. And I had the ability to the 3rd eye. I was able to access information. There was no information that I was not able to access. But what I didn't know was that I was going to lose this ability. And I didn't know that I was going to. I thought it was something I was going to have with me for a long time. But what happened was that sometime after I was born, I ended up getting lead poisoning. So much to the point where it was almost at a critical level. If my mom didn't know that I had, was noticing the symptoms of me having lead poisoning, then I could have died. And the funny thing is there was no pain in the house, And so, there was a high concentration of lead in my body and stuff like that. And I wasn't sure why that was the case, And so what happened was that from being lead poisoned, it crippled my pineal gland, or my 3rd eye. The physical pineal gland is the physical, representation of the 3rd eye or whatever. So it crippled it and it closed it because of high amounts of lead. And so after that, I found myself as a kid, I found myself doing something which a lot of people don't know. I found myself talking to what I thought. I found myself talking to God. And a lot of people thought I talked to myself and stuff like that, but it wasn't that. It was that I knew that the God, the energy could hear me. And so we talked to him all the time, Yeah, I had friends and stuff, but yeah, kids talking, and people be wondering who these little kids talking to. And I can attest to what, there's things that you are talking to, as a kid. He can attest to that. But, I grew up as a kid, I moved around a lot, never got any real foundation. And all throughout it, I found myself being, just observing this life, observing things, observing people, and trying to get an understanding. And I always found myself, as I'm growing up, I always found myself wondering about the deep stuff, and, I found myself finding philosophy and stuff like that. Like looking at things like art and stuff. And I was just trying to understand this life, or whatever. And at one point, I did feel like, and have this thought, I'm like, am I the only real person here and everybody else is a bunch of fakes? Because how can other people not be doing what I'm doing? How is this possible? Now one thing I did manifest when I was a kid was that I didn't like the school that I was going to. I was going to this all black school and kids was picking on me and stuff. One thing I did manifest was like, I was on this playground. I looked up and I said, I want to be at another school where people like me and they like me for me and stuff. And there's kids like me, they're smart and like different stuff. And, it didn't happen immediately, but I did end up going to another school where there's kids that look different from me, different cultures and backgrounds and stuff, different colors. And those kids did like me. They actually did. When I was a kid, I found myself just being very, just observing the world. I have had instances where I have, that, like, for example, I had an instance where one day I got mad at my mom. So I went down the street to this laundromat and there was this lady and, she was real nice and I was going to go buy a soda. And this lady came up to me. She said, "Well, oh, I'll buy it for you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks," And I was gonna, and the lady bought it for me. But then, I was like, I felt kind of guilty accepting it, the soda from the lady. So I went back home and I got some change, and I came back to the laundromat. And when I came back to the laundromat, I knew the lady had been washing clothes, but when I came back, the lady was gone. And I knew she had a whole bunch of clothes that she was washing, and I knew there was no way, because it was only like 10 minutes. And I knew there's no way the lady could, that could have happened where she could have just gone. But she was gone. Now, my understanding is that she was an angelic being trying to help me out. And that's what she did for me or whatever and stuff. I don't know if anybody's ever had experiences where you have people come in just at the right moment to help you out, and then you turn around and they're gone. Me and Ellen both experienced this with a guy when my car stopped or whatever, and he came out of nowhere to help us out. And then he disappeared after he had helped, you know what I'm saying, type of stuff, these experiences like that, spiritual, where they're one minute, they're gone the next type of thing. And I think as a girl, I went to church, and I thought that, I would be able to be connecting with God. That's what I thought, and I thought I would be able to have a relationship, because when I was talking to God, I was unable to hear him talking back to me. And I knew, for some reason, I knew that I was supposed to have him talking back. Okay. But I couldn't hear him, And so I thought, going to church, surely this is going to help me to hear. And this is why I went to church, and because my mom believed in Christianity and stuff, so I went with that. And I heard my mom talking about things like, when I picked up a magic book and I was interested in it, then, my mom, she said, I brought a magic book home. Now take that back. That's witchcraft. You can't be doing that. You can't be reading that stuff. That's demonic, blah, blah, blah. This is what my mom said. My mom was highly Christian and everything. And I was like, Mom, what's wrong with it? What are you talking about? Why can't I look into witchcraft? Why can I, or not witchcraft, why can't I look into magic? What's wrong with it? I'm as a kid, I'm thinking it's okay. And, I'm a kid that, grew up on anime and stuff too, watching anime like Sailor Moon and stuff was my big African and stuff or whatever. Like big time, like Sailor Moon fan and stuff. I am. So, I just I was confused about not being able to go into learning about magic, and I didn't understand. So I didn't learn about it. I'm now learning about magic and witchcraft and stuff. I'm now doing it as an adult because I can now, and my mom can't stop me from learning this kind of stuff, which people call it cults, So I found myself always fascinated with other religions, faiths and stuff like that. When I was in middle school, I took a world religions class, and I was interested in learning about the ancient people. The people called the ancestors. I was interested in them and stuff. And nobody else in my class was interested when I was in middle school. Nobody was, but I was. So I was like, wow, there's people in Mesopotamia and Egypt and these different places. I was really fascinated by that, And so, nobody else shared my enthusiasm. I still continue to, be into philosophy, read philosophy books and stuff like that. It took until college. I got to college, and I took another class. It's called World Religions, and I took that class. That class, it was cool because I got to do a project where I went to talk to a minister from a church, but it happened to be like a Muslim church or something. But it was a Black Muslim church or whatever. It was like a Nation of Islam church or something. And so I went to talk to the pastor or whatever, and I was confused. I'm like, this is the church, and I was a Christian, but I was like, well, why are the women? Why they got their hair like their heads covered and their face hidden and stuff? But then men are over here wearing suits and their faces were exposed and stuff, and the women are seeming subservient, and they got to walk 5 paces behind men. What's going on with this? I didn't understand it, And I was like, what's wrong with these people? And so I had to do that project for Think Through Religions. Now, one awesome thing I'm going to talk about real quick is we had to read this book. And I think it was in the other class I took, which was called Thinking Through Religions. This was with the same teacher I took World Religions with in college. And we read this book called The Leftovers. Basically, The Leftovers, I don't want to spoil for anybody who hasn't read it, but The Leftovers is basically a book about all of a sudden these people disappear. without a trace, they disappear. And basically you read through and see what people do after like these relatives of theirs and friends and stuff disappear, and what happens, you know, to the world. People thought it was a rapture, but there was nothing cruel or anything. The people just disappeared without a trace. Type of thing. I think it's a TV series, but the book is so much better. So much better to read the book, you know, because you really start to see, you know, the psychology of people and what people think and stuff with that book, you know. And I was transfixed by the Leftovers book. I thought it was crazy. So, after reading the Leftovers book, what happened was I went to I think it was a Hindu temple. Went to a Hindu temple, and me and Aaron both went to a Hindu temple, and there was this monk there. And, you know, I felt kind of out of place being a black girl being in there. We both, us black, and then the people there were Buddhist and Hindu. We felt kind of out of place being there. And, but we still went in anyway. And we went upstairs to talk to the monk. You remember that guy we talked to. And you know what the monk said? He said, you know, this is all part, you know, everything is all connected. And as a Christian, I didn't get any idea. I don't think anyone understood. Did you understand what he said at the time when we was at the Hindu temple and the guy said like everything was connected and stuff? Did you get it?
Yeah, he explained.
I mean, he went into, I didn't get it, but maybe anyone did. You know,
Because it sounded simple to me. He just said everything that you see here is all the reincarnations of you know, God coming to do some work. Just like how everybody has a reincarnations, they come here, they're the same soul but different bodies. And all of these is how the different people of the world, you know, he came during this time and this time and this time and this time, and he looked like this, and another time he looked like that, another time he revealed himself to people in dreams and looked like this. And so I was like, okay. I mean, yeah, I got it, but the only reason why I got it is because I have memories of having another life in the first place.
So I didn't understand it because I didn't have my memories of anything yet, of any past lives yet. I didn't have that. So I didn't understand it. I was still in the Christian mindset, but I was open to learning about stuff. This is something a lot of Christians are not open to do. So, what ended up happening was I didn't click for me. So it took until I would say what happened is for me to get on my spiritual journey was the Donald Trump election. So I thought we both went to vote for a presidential candidate, and we didn't vote for Donald Trump. But the funny thing was every time we tried to vote, then it always seemed to default to Donald Trump. It was weird. You know, everyone noticed this when we was voting. And, you know, I was like, you know, we voted and stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, Hillary Clinton's going to win and stuff. I wanted Hillary Clinton to win because I was like, well, you know, when Bill Clinton was in office, when I was a kid, stuff was cool. There wasn't any of this, like, the TV shows were good, you know, the music was good. Life was good. I was a kid, and everybody in my family was together, the whole thing, you know, and I wanted everybody else to have that aspect of that being. Now, I didn't know what was going on at the time. As a kid, you don't understand, but as an adult, I understand now what was going on and stuff. But yes, there was more family orientation, you know, around the time I was growing up, because I was born in the 90s and stuff, early part of the 90s or whatever. And so, yeah, you know, things were cool, and I wanted to go back to that, you know, because this world now is just, oh my gosh, it's not what it used to be. So what ended up happening was that after the results of the election came out, you know, and I had been watching the stuff that Donald Trump said and all that stuff, and I was kind of horrified by it, you know. And so Donald Trump got elected. And when he got elected, I shut down. Because, like, they said if Donald Trump got elected, you know, black people were going back to Africa, and there was so much racist stuff. There was being racially charged stuff being said, and I was scared for my life. I was so scared, I only bought the house for a week. I'm not shitting you. I only leave out of the house for a week because I thought that they were going to start killing black people and all types of stuff, and I was so scared I wanted to stay in the house. I was so confused about why other people didn't understand. I wasn't even on social media. I was that scared. And my sense of understanding, how is it that people can elect somebody that could be like him? I didn't understand that. And it shattered me to the point where I went through an apocalypse. Something where it shatters your way of thinking, and you just, like what an apocalypse does.
I mean, the reason why she went through that is because they kept showing all these videos of all these churches saying that Trump is a new messiah, that vote for Trump. And there was all these churches saying and instructing Christians to do so, which she was Christian at the time. So
Yeah.
as you can believe that it's like, wow, they really don't care about us black people, which I had the same problem with my pastor. He would always only pray for the police. He never would pray for the black people, and he would never pray for the black people's families. I would always confront him about that. And then eventually he started yelling and screaming, saying that, well, black people killed themselves, so they don't need any prayers. And, that's one of the things that made me leave.
Yeah, and so like when he got elected, I was scared for my life. Like I said, I stayed in the house for a whole week. I didn't leave. I didn't go anywhere. I stayed in the house. I watched stuff on the like I had turned on TV, but I got to the point where I couldn't. I turned it off. I couldn't do it. It was just a reminder of everything. And eventually I started to come out of it when I saw Alan watching and stuff like Spirit Science and watching the different videos like for the Real Merkaba and stuff. I started to kind of come back, and I waited till he went to work. And then I kind of got into looking into the Spirit Science and was like, oh, what's this? And then I was looking at it and stuff, and I watched a couple of videos and stuff. And I liked them. I was like, oh, this is cool, and stuff. And I just like wait till he leaves and stuff, was watching the stuff he was watching. And stuff, because I didn't want him to know, And I don't know why, but I did. And I got into it, really. But
The volume was pretty normal.
so it is. Oh.
Like, you usually talk louder.
Oh,
Your
sorry.
volume was getting more normal. And
Oh,
I was just like,
Okay.
I didn't think
So-
you could do.
So so what did I do? So I started to come out of that depression and feeling like people were, like it was all, the world was over type of thing. And so what I did was is that I started to come back to life. I started to look at stuff on Facebook and stuff. And one day I went outside and I saw that everything was still okay. People were still okay. I went to a store and I saw that people were still okay. There were still people that were nice. And I was like, oh. And I was okay after that. But after that, what I did is I decided to start meditating. I don't know what it was, but they said something about meditation, I guess, in the video. And I started thinking, I want to meditate. And that started my meditation journey. And it started for me where I started off meditating. I meditated for a couple of minutes, but that didn't, 2 minutes. That didn't work for me and stuff. And I had to go through all these meditation videos. And I was just finding that, man, these aren't working. So I kind of got myself on a meditation thing where I set it up where I meditate on different chakras for, it was 7 minutes. And in total, it'll be 42, 45 minutes or whatever and stuff. And I started doing it every day. And meditation changed me. It transformed me. It started making me see my life from a different perspective. People from a different perspective and stuff. And I started to become more open to spiritual stuff. I even went to this the New Age store that's around the corner. Now, first time I went in, I was a Christian. And I was scared. I thought I'd sinned if I would go in there. But this time, after I meditated, after being through meditation and stuff, and having gone through this journey and stuff, what happened was that I found myself going into the New Age store, and I was okay. Everything was okay. The people were not going to hurt me. There's nothing bad about it.
They were actually friendly.
Yeah, they were actually friendly people. But Christianity would make you think that these people are made a pact with the devil and everything else.
You go to a church and they're way less friendly than they were at this place it's supposed to be about. So it's weird because it's like the opposite place that they tell you not to go to, the opposite people that tell you not to talk to. Why are they more friendly and more godlier and more Jesus-like than the actual church people?
Yeah, that is something that was kind of confusing. And so, like, we start going there more and more.
They got more love, peace, and mercy and kindness than anybody else.
So we start going there more and more. Like I said, we start going to this New Age store, and we've been going. It's been, I think, a couple of years since we've kind of started on our spiritual journeys and stuff. And now, one thing that did get us out of Christianity was reading the Bible. And we had to read it. Sucked that we had to read it. We had to watch, it was like this 6-hour video.
Yeah, it was called That's a Game, the Bible and Christianity Finally Explained. It was 6 hours, but it was so important to us. We just watched it all the way through. And we watched other ones like the Bible Literally. It was like basically Bible studies, except they were real ones, not the ones you get in church.
Yeah.
Okay, because the Bible study where it goes into the history, it goes into why, it goes into where they got it from, real stuff. It's like, for instance, if you was to do, any type of study, you got to have your works cited pages, you got to have articles, you got to have blogs and books you got information from, as well as websites and videos. That's how you conduct a study, like we all learned. We all learned that from school. So when we do Bible, so when you go to church and you're doing a Bible study, they're not opening up any articles. They're not showing you any other videos. They're not showing you blogs. They're not showing you any other books. That's not a study.
Yeah. And so what we did was, it was a 6-hour video, but I remember we took breaks in between it because we had to open up. So he has his Bible or whatever. Give me a second. I'm going to go grab mine real quick and I'm going to wrap this video up real quick.
I don't know if y'all can still hear her, but she's coming back.
Yeah. So I'm going to wrap this up. Like freaking fall the chair. We got like a real tight space. All right. So we had to open this Bible up. So this is mine. This is his Bible. His is King James. Mine is the English Standard Version. Okay. Now his is the authorized version that they tell people to read, that Christians only go by. Mine's the English Standard Version, one that people really don't go by. So, we had to open these things up. Okay. You see all this stuff in my Bible? See those tabs and stuff? It's kind of hard to see. Let me turn this down real quick so y'all see. Okay, so you see these tabs and stuff like that. I got a whole bunch of writing in here too, but it's probably hard for y'all to see. Or whatever. But what?
It's okay. They don't have to read it.
Yeah. But basically I got these notes in here. I got a bunch of scriptures in here and stuff like that, or whatever. This ain't no Bible study, okay? For those watching. Okay. But basically, like, we had to literally open the book. Now, before when I was a Christian, I was afraid to open this book.
Me too.
I thought it was a holy book. I thought that nothing can happen to the Bible. If you drop it, then God forbid you drop the Bible.
Her reason is different from mine. For me, I didn't want to hear not one more thing that I couldn't do because Christianity made me want to commit suicide 4 times. Because it was just that bad, to the point of like, why am I even here? If I got to be like everybody else, why do I have a personality? If I got to be like everybody else, why am I starting out in poverty? Why am I not starting off at the same fairness as everyone else? What's the use of living then? What's the use of having different abilities? What's the use of having these different interests then? If I'm not supposed to be my own person, stuff like that.
So, yeah, we had to go through, like, as you guys can see, I have tabs and stuff. We had to go through the Bible. And the Bible study, we had to open it up, go to scriptures. We had to literally read it. We didn't do like church does where they skip around. We didn't do that. We had to go to those parts where it was explained to us what the stuff was. Okay. And about like Jesus and stuff on the back. I got, like, you see all this stuff? It's all these scriptures. You see all this stuff with scriptures? Yeah. Yes, it's
Now,
and there's
okay, great. Now the
so
video was 6 hours, but we had to continue to pause it.
yeah, because
Repetitively.
it was so hard. And we wanted to stop. I was begging to stop reading with the
And
Bible.
then we still had to do more because
Yeah.
there was more that we still had to do. Like when it came to Egyptian God versus biblical God, that video. There's so many.
There's
that
so
the
many
Real
videos
Bible
we've
had.
gone through.
The thing
yeah.
is that we trust him because it's crazy because I was going for 14 years. It took me 14 years of going and then to get out. The thing is that he was been studying it for 14 years and he's done research, esoteric research, and all these other type of things, and he's got tons of books. So he's got this knowledge of books and older books and things like that, where he broke it all the way. I didn't know anything about. I didn't know that King James was a Freemason. I didn't know that until they actually showed it and showed the website. I didn't know that. I didn't know that the Bible was created in 1604 through 1611. Didn't know that. I didn't know about the Willow Lynch letter, where it was made in 1712. I didn't know that, and I didn't know what the Willow Lynch letter said. So I'm like, wait, but the Bible was created before that. So why the hell?
Yeah, because if supposedly if Jesus is supposed to be the savior that's supposed to help care for people, then why do we see the world like we see now, where people are starving, homeless? People don't have jobs. People can't feed their families. People are trying to make strides and stuff and things, and nobody's backing them. Everybody's all into celebrities and all this stuff.
And that wasn't.
And nobody's wanting to help anybody. Our gerbil is really busy. Yeah, she's crazy.
And that wasn't even my biggest issue. One of my biggest issues was it started hitting me like, wait a minute, Jesus didn't show up on a slave boat. He didn't show up during the transatlantic slave trade. He didn't show up during the sub-Saharan slave trade. Like, he ain't show up for none, for nobody.
Yeah, and he didn't show
up. And the only people's prayers was getting answered as white people. Was like, what is up with that? And the biggest thing for me was, I was like, wait a minute, why would the slave masters want the slaves to know about Jesus if it was real? Because then couldn't they just pray to Jesus and pray to his God to free them from slavery and to kill their slave masters? Yeah. So that's what it was like, boom, for me.
Yeah, and that's what that's what got it out, and that's the thing too, is that, Christianity requires a lot of faith, but yeah, we did have to go through the Bible, the good, the bad, look, there's more bad stuff in the Bible than, and there's so many people who are probably watching this are probably too scared to do it. We had to go through it, but see, we had to get to the core of learning about this religion that we're a part of, because that's the only way we can be free of it, is to really learn and get through it.
The only way to get that type of resistance to get out of it is you keep getting scammed and you keep getting lied to.
Yeah.
And then you discover that you've been scammed. Then you discover you've been lied to. Then you discover that you're actually following something that's by a Freemason. Then you actually discover, like, what am I a part of? I'm a part of something that's really evil. And I need to get out of this. Like, I don't want to be worship. I'm not going to worship this anymore. That's what you pretty much is what you go through. You go through that.
That's what you go through.
So you basically get scammed so many times that you're like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And fool me all the other times, I must be stupid or dumb or idiotic or an idiot, and I don't got no common sense. Shame on me, And basically, they have me fooled, all the way fooled.
Yeah,
but this is what I mean by it's hard to be spiritual, because when you come out and tell your family.
Yeah, listen. He tried talking to his dad and his grandpa, and they're Christian, and he's trying to explain the stuff that he learned about the Bible and about our African history, because a lot of people think that black people were slaves. Well, actually, that's not true. We actually had a history before it. We were kings, queens over empires and stuff like that. The Songhai, the Songhai, the Mali, the Kumasi, the Kilwa,
and Benin.
The Benin, and also Kemet, which everybody now knows as Egypt. Okay, those were our empires that we had. These were black empires, but a lot of you guys don't know about that because it's not told in history or whatever, we didn't know it either.
We didn't know it either. Like, we had to learn about it off of a video called "There Is No Debate on How Africans Received There's no religious debate on how Africans received the Bible. Okay, it's on that video from the Real America book. Okay,
So
so they tells you how they took Christian people. Christianity, it was invented. It was made basically, first of all, all the way from the very beginning, dealing with the Greek pharaoh Ptolemy. Okay, who conquered his way onto the Egyptian throne, which is why when you look up Ptolemy, he actually exists. And then he go and they don't have his nose chopped off or his lips chopped off. You see all the black ones, they chop the nose off or chop the lips off. Okay, so this is how, and they kind of go into how Jesus came about, because it went from Ptolemy to Serapis to Serapis Christos, and then Council of Rome, Nicaea, turned Serapis Christos into Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
and then that's how that happened.
So
all the while putting Greek mythology in it, because ancient Africans would not worship these Greek gods.
Here's how I'm going to tell you guys. So some people are probably saying, well, I never heard all that stuff or whatever. Well, it takes some reading to get to it. I'm going to tell you something. As a person who has left Christianity and I'm like fully embracing spirituality, meditation, Reiki healing. I'm a level 2 Reiki person. Reiki level 2 practitioner. I've been attuned to Reiki level 1 and Reiki level 2.
Oh, yeah.
We will get to, I'll be at like Reiki level 3 or Reiki master. I say by the end of this year. I've decided not to undergo that attunement just yet, or that class just yet, attunement and class just yet, because I don't want to you go ahead, you go both. Yeah. Because there was this guy that's on Ryan Carper group, and he said something about, when I posted the last post about his being a spiritual train, he was talking about I wasn't legit or whatever. So I don't deal with anything unless it's legit. But you can get the other ones if you want to.
Even the level 1s?
Yeah. So, and this is to prove that I'm a legit Reiki level 2 practitioner and stuff, because people need legitimacy, and I don't deal with nobody unless they're legit. So basically, on my spiritual journey, I've gone through different stuff. Okay.
Yeah, he said she wasn't legit because a lot of people don't think that black people are not legit.
Yeah.
They think that only white people are legit.
So, okay. So is it hard to see? Okay. So let me see. What could I do to turn this thing off? What could I do to turn it off? So, okay. So this right here, it's kind of hard to see, but this is my Reiki level 1 certificate right here. Okay. So this is mine.
That's yours too.
And this is my Reiki level 2. It's kind of hard to see. So this is my Reiki level 2 right here, or whatever. If I got to take a picture of it, I can. So this is my Reiki level 2. So I've been attuned to Reiki, both Reiki level 1 and 2. And 1 here. He's been attuned to Reiki level 1, as you can see that 1. Okay. And he's been attuned to Reiki level 2. Okay. So for legitimacy purposes, because see, you got people who think because we're black, they think that we're not legit in our experiences or what we do.
And calling us stereotypes and everything like that.
Yeah, because the guy went on and said that what other post I had is being spiritual trained. This guy went and said, he said, well, about my YouTube video, oh, you don't want to fall into stereotypes. I'm like, what are you saying, a white or black thing? Is that what you're trying to say to me? And that tends to be what people had a perception of, is, they don't have any perception that black people can, in fact, have legitimacy and do stuff, especially when it comes to starting a business. People think we on a scam or something.
And he didn't stop there. He went on to slander her image too. Went to slander her at the same time.
Yeah, you sit down. We're almost done anyway.
I'm gonna I gotta finish hanging things up.
Well, come back. Then we're gonna end it anyway.
Okay.
But this is very true. Being black and trying to go on a spiritual journey. I mean, for us, we have to, and for us, it is. We're dealing with being oppressed, people having stereotypes about us, thinking certain ways about us,
stigmatisms and stuff.
Yeah, the media saying stuff about us and stuff. We're dealing with this as black people. But see, the hardest thing for us with spirituality is that we still have these stigmas. We still have these stereotypes. You know, we still do. We have to live with that. There are people who are of different colors that don't understand that.
And then
they don't get it.
And then when you're spiritual, your own people that look like you, you know, they don't see you as human anymore either.
Yeah, so you're kind of in a boat to yourself. That's what I mean when I say it's hard being spiritual. And when we say, oh, you want to say something?
Yeah, so when you guys got Christian bullies and people who's bullying you no matter what, and they want to slander you, you have to address that quickly. Because if you don't, other people's going to see the comment, or other people's going to see their video and the slander. You need to have them address that exactly what the issue is they have with your video, because maybe it didn't go in enough detail, or maybe they don't have the knowledge that you have. Because let's face it, some people just don't read, and just because they don't read doesn't mean that something ain't true. Okay, so that's what you got to do. Ask them to list exactly what it is in the comment section, or ask them to make a video and list exactly what their issue is. Now, if they don't want to do that, then you need to ask them to apologize for slandering you or for being rude and disrespectful to you. You need to ask them to do that. And if they don't want to do that either, then you're just going to have to then delete their comments or whatever, or address their video in your own way. Okay.
Yeah, because the guy didn't want to apologize to me and the stuff he said. He didn't even want to do the work of saying what I was negative on. He was what I like to call a spiritual know-it-all. There's a lot of spiritual know-it-alls. These are people who they claim to know a lot of stuff or say a lot of stuff and whatever. And they want to act like they're on this pedestal somewhere. You know, that's what they do. I know that when people are getting into spirituality, it's a pretty hot thing right now that people are jumping into. When people jump into or trying to jump onto this spirituality training, supposedly, people look at it kind of like what they do with church. And what do I mean by that?
Where they just want to be a part of something. They just want to follow something. It's a lot like high school where you want to be a part of something. Now, when people's coming out with videos and they're coming out with their own experiences, like, well, this is what you want to look for. You want to look for people when they say, this is the history. This is the spiritual history. That's what you want. That's one way of getting the truth of spirituality. The second way of what you want to hear is, what happened to me was, in my experience, what I did was, this is how I solved this problem. You see that? There was something that somebody went through in real life. That way you can take it for yourself. And if you go through that, either through astral projection or lucid dreaming, or you know, because, you know, for instance, some people really freaked out. You know, when, you know, I remember a bunch of kids, you know, when I was in church, a bunch of kids was crying because they had lost their pets, and their pastors was like, you know, they said two things. They was crying for two reasons. One, because a lady said, what you guys want to be when you grow up? One person said a firefighter, one said a doctor, one even said a Wolverine. And it's like, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say you want to be a pastor. And the kids, and there's kids crying. And then this other one was like, what about my dog? My dog died yesterday. Is he going to be in heaven when I get to see him? He's going to be in heaven. It's like, no, your dog don't have a soul. Cats don't have a soul. Your pets don't have a soul. And more kids was crying. And so it was crazy, because after that day, I went home and I kept seeing pets everywhere. I kept seeing pet dogs, pet cats, but they were like dead. They were spirits.
They were spirits, yeah.
And so I was like, oh, so they're wrong. And I was like, so the good news was that the universe gave me the ability to see that. Now, I couldn't see it before, but until after that. So it must have been something that my higher self just let me have, or clicked on for me, so I can give comfort to those children. Yeah, and the thing for us is that spirituality for us is a real big thing. It is really big for us. I do stuff like meditation. He practices astral projection. He hasn't really been able to do. I haven't been able to get out, because every time I start to come out, something happens. A baby crawled on me one time. There was 4 people in my room another time, like, she was gone, but for some reason her spiritual energy was still in the house, and she came over to me, and I was trying to astral project on the floor, and she just grabbed my ankle, and her hand was just there, and I'm like, I know you're not. Yeah, I was at work. Yeah. And I can attest to what that is too. I can attest to that. It may not necessarily be my energy, but it could be something else. I made a video about that too when I said something. I had an experience that was similar. But yeah, I mean, on our spiritual journeys, like, I've meditated and I've had dreams about stuff, lucid dreams and stuff. Some crazy, some pretty crazy stuff. Like, you guys check out my YouTube channel, Butterfly Spirit 314 on YouTube. I mean, I've had experiences from meditating and stuff or whatever, and Reiki has only intensified stuff for me, because he can attest to the fact that I'm starting to even scare him with, like, after being attuned to Reiki. It's like she's always finishing like I don't even get a chance. You know how you about to say something and you start to say it and then they finish your sentence? No, that's not how it goes. For her, it's I'm thinking it and I'm going to say it, but she already is telling me what I'm thinking.
And like I've manifested, like I had something where I manifested like two things from like I was sitting at a table over there, and I was thinking about these two things that I wanted to get from the store, that I wanted to get from Walmart. And these are two things that would not normally be related. It was like a binder, and it was like these, I think it was like covers or something, plastic covers that you put over pages or something. And so what happened was that I went to the store, the Walmart, it's nearest, and drove there. And those two items, like normally they would not be, they would not be in the same aisle. But what happened is I walked down this one aisle. Those two things were sitting right next to each other for me to pick up. How long did it take for that to happen? 10 minutes for that to happen. I guess for me to manifest it or something. I've also done stuff like listen to the universe too. And it led me to take an astrology class, which we both took. When you're spiritual, you get led to stuff or whatever. But
you gotta pay attention. You don't write stuff off as coincidence. It's not.
Yeah, and also I want to mention to people synchronicities. There are some people who just think synchronicities, if you see it, I see it or whatever, like a trendy thing. But synchronicities actually mean stuff. I've been studying numerology for a year, actually over a year now. And I'm getting into that real deep stuff with numerology. And I find myself being led to other stuff. And when you're spiritual, you find yourself going to different types of stuff. You're researching the hell out of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You get books that you're reading. Right now I'm reading a book right now called The Power of the Witches on witchcraft. It's basically by a lady talking about witchcraft and stuff. I'm reading it, and another book on magic and religion. Also, it's like an encyclopedia I'm reading. I'm also reading other stuff too, which I forgot what else.
I'm really hungry, so
yeah, but I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna
just let y'all know that if you guys are dealing with like abuse with paranormal experiences and the Bible is being used on you badly, and like for things like that, I'm on your hero, and I talk about all my experiences, even rape, even molestation, all of that stuff. My experiences, talk about that stuff. Just to let y'all know, you're not alone. Okay, there's people who went through a lot of that stuff, and I'm here for y'all. Okay, if y'all ever going through that stuff.
And real quick, so I'm gonna end this here because it's been an hour and 2 minutes or what? Hour and like 13 or whatever minutes. But what I just want to say, guys, is that I encourage you guys to share your experiences, spiritual experiences, and stuff like that. You're gonna get people who are going to comment. They could be negative, like what happened to me with a post that I was sharing about a video that I did on YouTube. I have a lot of YouTube videos on Butterfly Spirit 3 and 4 on YouTube. But I encourage you guys to share your spiritual experiences. Don't be afraid to share them. The more information we can get out about spirituality, the better, because everybody holds a piece of the puzzle to spirituality and stuff, and you're never done with spirituality. I find myself going from book to book to book to book to book because I'm just being led. You can never stop with spirituality. There's so much stuff you can learn and stuff like that. There is more than just a third eye and everything and stuff. But I want you guys to know that, like, you can start a YouTube channel. You can tell people about your experiences. You can do that. You might get some haters, but, just keep going. I have a YouTube channel because I'm sharing stuff that I learned along my spiritual journey about stuff or whatever, because he says I know a lot of stuff that he doesn't know, and he thinks I should talk about it. And for us, people like us, we're actually sharing our spiritual journeys for people to see. And we're not, even private experiences we share, because we know everybody has real experience. And if we can tell you about an experience, maybe you're going through it and we want to help with that, and be supportive, because there's a lot of flooding of people talking about spirituality and stuff, but people not really getting to that deep stuff, that real deep stuff, like what do you do if something flies across the room? We've had that happen here at our house. or something flies across the room or something. When I was meditating, something flew across the room or whatever.
Now,
Seeing spirits and stuff like that.
When I was a Christian, that stuff scared the crap out of me, because I was a big wad of nothing, and only Jesus could save me, and only God could save me, and I would scream in night terrors and all type of stuff, especially with her, because I didn't have no backbone, because I would pray for this Jesus to help me, and nothing would happen, and more stuff would go on. So, and it wasn't until I got out of that and got out of Christianity and became more spiritual, where I started to program my own mind in meditation, saying, I am brave, I am courageous, I am strong. And I always say those same 3 things. And that's helped me to, like, deal with my nightmares and be strong and have, superhero abilities, things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, I can
fight that stuff off. And when it happens in real life, I'm not affected by it. I'll beef up and I'll be like this, right? And I'll have my fist ready and see what it is. And if I don't see anything, then it's like, okay, I'm cool. Because I used to get so freaked out about that.
But yeah, like we're people that we really display ourselves spiritually to people. We want to be those people who relay real experiences, not just the general information that you find out there.
And I ended up learning about Ryan Cropper from Spirit Science, because they talked about astral projection. And I was like, what? So I typed that in, because I was like, that's something that happened to me. So I would love to learn more about that, so that way I can willfully do it and know more about what's going on. Because he talked about, what Ryan Cropper was talking about, and in one of his videos was about, he was doing this radio talk show with a radio show with this person. And he was talking about how he saw his actual friend. This is when I realized that the life review is real.
Yeah.
When he talked about his actual friend that had died, he saw him in a life review. And that's when I realized, oh crap, all the time that people go into church and they're just giving all their guilt up to God so they can go out and commit more crimes and go out and hurt more people, just to go back to church, just to give it all up to God and go treat people like crap again. That energy, you're gonna have a life review, and you gotta be each one of those persons. So that's what really made me go on a forgiveness streak. Like, I was really going like, I forgive you for this, I forgive you for that. I'm sorry. And I was like saying, I'm sorry if I ever hurt you by this. Anything I could think of, every little thing, because I do not want to be them going through no life review.
So, I mean, yeah, life review is actually real. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's real.
This is what I mean by real experiences, is help you out. But it takes that gumption, that gusto to talk about it.
Because so many people are so scared to do that.
I mean, I used to believe that if I came out with because me being black, and if they do a background check on me for getting a job, they would find my videos and then they wouldn't hire me. I used to think, for real, that was a real thing.
It's real. I felt the same way. I mean, we just want to tell people that it's okay to have your experience and to share your experience, spiritual experience and stuff. If you want to follow us on, like, for me, Butterfly Spirit 314 on YouTube, or if you want to follow him and on Your Hero, like, we do collabs and we talk about stuff all the time. And we talk about real stuff. We've done lots of videos and stuff or whatever too. And
even sex.
Yeah, we've even talked about that. And so, I mean, I had a video about almost having a lucid dream. Oh no, almost having sex and lucid dream. Like, that's how I mean, like, I'm like open like that, where I talk about it because it's important for you guys to know what happens and stuff, because I've had these lucid dreams and stuff and experiences, and I like to share them.
I've talked about how, where I believe I finally successfully astral projected, but it was such in a different way that I wasn't sure if I was in lucid dream, because it looked like virtual reality, because I actually made it through the sleep paralysis. The only thing that happened was that it was like that carnival ride where you're in that little spaceship and you get sucked up to the wall and you spin real fast. I was spinning on my bed really fast and I popped out in 50 Cent's house.
Yeah. So, like, we've had experiences through, I mean, I would say, and a lot of people misunderstood what I was talking about. I'm
not even a 50 Cent fan, so I don't even know why. That's the thing. So, the spirituality being a trend, could you relay again what that meant again for people who didn't understand about spirituality being a trend, so we can kind of do that and then leave? Spirituality being a trend, it's just people giving a lot of generic information, or they're just doing it for money. They don't have any of their own experiences, and they're not telling you the history, or the history about it, at least where it comes from, how it came to be. Those are things those things
More important.
are important. Or when they're lying, or they're just saying, they get on there and it's like, wow, I can talk about crystals too. I can get on there. These things are fake. I can say anything I want to and people will believe me.
Yeah.
Just suckers out there will believe me because a person hurt their ear or something using a crystal. And that's what I mean. Like, if you're going to, use spirituality as a trend, don't lie, because somebody's going to get hurt. Because especially if a person is trying to get out of Christianity and then you're just lying, saying that, oh, I saw Jesus too, and all this other type of stuff. And really, but if they're researching, they're really looking for something that's real, and they read a book like Robert Monroe, Journeys Out of the Body, and they notice that he calls on Jesus and all this other type of stuff too, when he's astral projecting and no Jesus shows up, but he hears from a person who's using spirituality as a trend that, oh, I talk to Jesus all the time and all this other stuff, and he realized now he's confused, like, what? And he doesn't want to believe in no Jesus, because the more he believes in that, the more he's like, the more they'll start thinking like how I was thinking, where if I just kill myself, I'm not with this person. Because what if they did read the Bible and they realized that Jesus was okay with slavery, saying, yeah, you're going to get beat. Even if you don't know what to do, you're going to get beat. Condoning it and not saying that, oh, you better not do that or else I'm going to kill you or else you're going to go to hell. Instead of saying that, he said, yeah, that's what's going to happen to you. Yep, you're going to get beat. What if they read that and they're further along in information than you are, and it is hurting them?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Using spirituality as a trend and lying,
it can hurt people.
It's going to hurt.
It actually can hurt people. There are people who do have spiritual experiences that, like, there's this guy on YouTube that his spiritual awakening it hurt him. The sun, moon, and stars dude or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his spiritual awakening.
Because he wasn't a very nice person. He was cheating on his girl and stuff like that. But he didn't even care. He wanted to change so bad. So every day at 6 a.m., he did a Kundalini yoga and he did a Kundalini meditation, and he did it for 2 hours every morning at 6 a.m. And he did it for 8 days straight. And he realized it too. That bad energy that he was putting out there, you can't just give that up to God, to no biblical God, no Jesus, because that stuff is hanging around you, and it's going to come. It's like a cup. That cup's going to fill over. It's like a cup, and it's going to fill over. Okay, and then it's going to spill out. Don't worry about it. And it's going to spill out. Okay, and then it's going to come right back to you.
It's like a cup. Okay, it's like a cup. Basically, it's like the physical.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And that's what happened to him. All his bad stuff was lingering. All that bad energy was coming towards him. And guess what? Even all the bad energy that was used against the ancient Africans, this is what they was trying to show me when I accepted that stuff, and I was getting those night terrors of them being raped and murdered and pillaged, and they were screaming and hollering. They was yelling at me and telling me I should have never accepted that stuff. I did not know that energy, after hundreds of years, that energy is still out there right now. It's still out there, and they're still floating out there. Their energy and their screams and stuff, and they just slammed me in my my soul body, in my dream body, with all that stuff, and I still didn't know what I was looking at.
So what about the sun, moon, and stars do? What about him? Did you say?
Oh yeah, well, he eventually started to feel better, but he had to talk to a monk to understand what was going on with him. He had to start being real nice. He couldn't cheat no more on his wife no more.
What happened? What was it? Was stuff attacking him or something?
Well, he was getting the energy was really jacked up. Like the energy of Kundalini rising was prickling him. He said he was itching all over the place. He was in pain and stuff like that. He was in pain. He was getting these pricks, and it felt like needles all over his body and things like that, because he was a bad person.
It was painful, yeah. That energy came back on him, and then the awakening he was having was painful.
So you want to talk about karma? Oh, it's ready to come to you, especially if you are about to get spiritual.
Yeah, so that's what people don't know.
He wanted to change, but it came at a cost for a mean person like that.
There is a spiritual awakening, but it can be painful. It can be harmful to you.
Just make sure you're a good person.
And you need to have somebody who has experience like that guy did. You gotta have somebody who has experience, because if you don't, people ain't gonna believe you, and then you're gonna be alone by yourself.
Because if you never said that, people wouldn't realize, like, okay, I gotta stop cheating, or I gotta stop being mean to people, or I gotta stop being a Christian bully if I want to actually experience a real awakening, or I gotta stop, without the real world information. For instance, like the guy said he opened his third eye that kind of looked like Ryan Cropper a little bit, and he looked like him a little bit, and he was like, well, it took me 8 months. You know what I'm saying? That's actually a date, and there's a time span in between there of how long it took him. He's like, first thing I did was I changed my water, and I put a Brita filter and a pure filter on my water fountain or my sink, and I did that. The second thing I did was he said I started eating up but vegetables and eating up but vegan, and it took me, he said, and then my first experience was about 5 months in to, I saw this water spout with my friend.
Oh, you're talking about the dude. Oh yeah, you're talking about the guy that he's talking about the guy that opened his third eye, but then once his third eye was open, he wanted to close it. And why did he wanted to close it? Because
that's what I'm getting to. So his second experience was on the 8th month, and he was walking in a golf field, and he ended up in full consciousness, just boom, going out like this, right? And he came into a whole nother reality when now he's on this cliff and he sees like a galaxy in the sky, and he's in this beautiful place, and he's there for like 10 minutes, and then boom, it just goes away. And he said he walked like 5 more feet forward, and he came out and he's back on the golf course. He said after that he realized that he realized it was real. That was the point.
He realized that third eye was real.
Yeah, he just wanted to see it if it was real.
And it was.
And then he was like, okay, you know what? I realized something. I don't want to be called crazy. I don't want this spiritual experience no more. I want to go back into the matrix because I want to be able to be normal like my friends. I don't want my friends to think I'm crazy. I want to be able to exist here and just experience here, the matrix. That's what it was about. But without having those information and the times, and how long it took and what he did, we can't try that stuff. That's the whole reason why I'm saying that just saying spirituality and just using it as a trend or just a way to make money is not a good thing, because you're going to flood the YouTube videos with that, or you're going to flood articles with it, and people out here need help.
All going to believe you, and then they could get hurt.
I mean, people are going to do what the hell they want to do anyway, good or bad.
So one thing I do want to say is I wanted you to end with that example of that girl. The girl who was, when you was at work, I did want you to end with that.
So for instance, I'll end it with this about spirituality being a trend. I was at work and I was setting up the fair or whatever, and there's a lady there. She had on the whole get up. She looked it, because this is what spiritual people do. Okay, so we have necklaces, we wear crystals and things like that. It's my Tiger's Egyptian's eye, which you got for me after work. Yeah. So this is what we do to, in a subtle way, tell somebody else, strangers, hey, I'm spiritual just like you. I've had spiritual experiences just like you. You can talk to me. It's a subtle way of saying it. It's a subtle way by wearing your crystals and stuff like that, because crystals may not all know what that is.
Crystals either.
They may not all know what that is. Okay. So she had on the crystal, but she also wore the clothes. So I was like, and she was white, and I was like, hey, well, do you need help making a purchase with any other stuff? When I was at a fair, I was outside. Okay. And she's like, shying away from me. Whenever the white dude I was working with, he was 6 feet tall. You know how girls like that list, 6 feet tall, light skin, whatever. But he was white. He was just 6 feet tall. So she talked to him. Me, I'm not 6 feet tall. I don't have tattoos. I'm not a gangster. I don't do none of that stuff. You see, I don't have dreads, all that, whatever that list is. I don't got that. Okay. Anyway, I started to get this feeling that she may be racist. Okay, because she doesn't want to talk to me, black person. Okay, so when I asked her, hey, I noticed you got that cage around your crystal on that necklace. I was like, I like that. Where'd you get that from? She's like, turn away. I said, hey, did you hear what I'm saying? I'm not talking very low. Like, I'm actually talking so that you can hear me. You're not very far away from me. I was asking where you got that from. And she was like, oh, well, I made these myself. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, that's cool. And I was like, well, you got anything? So I'm busy. I'm checking things out. And I'm like, what? But then she said she was busy. She was checking things out, but she was all the while talking to the white dude, the tall white dude that was right there.
Yeah.
Like normal, like he's a human. But she looked at me like I'm gonna rape her or something. Like I'm a monster.
Yeah, but
And
then
I don't like that. But so I'm like, how are you supposed to be spiritual? You got the clothes, you got the necklace on, and you're using it as a business and everything to sell your crystal cages and everything, but you ain't really spiritual. I thought you're supposed to look at the spiritual people, look at each other's spirits.
yeah,
We know that
yeah.
each other, we have spiritual experiences and we're criticized by other people, especially Christians. So what is going on with you? Like, why are you guys, so how are you supposed to be spiritual, but you racist at the same time? That doesn't match. You are not spiritual. You're just using it as a trend. That's an example I mean. As well as another person who was saying stuff like, well, the ego says you can't do it. The ego says you're not good enough. And I was like, I was reading it. She was on my Facebook, right? And I was like, wow, let me see if she's had a spiritual awakening, because only spiritual people say stuff like that. It's a subtle way. Again, those are subtle words to say that Christians may not know. Others people may not know. So that way you're not criticized and hurt. Your feelings aren't hurt. You're dealing with them. So that way, it's another way of saying, hey, I'm like you, spiritual person. If there's any spiritual people out there, let's talk about my spiritual awakening. So I asked her, I was like, hey, have you had a spiritual awakening? Have you came out of your body or lucid dream, or became aware in your dreams, or started seeing colors around people like auras or things like that? And she was like, have you had a spiritual awakening? She said, oh yeah, I've had a spiritual awakening because I started doing yoga 2 months ago. I was like, what? No. Did you have a spiritual awakening? Like, is paranormal stuff different in your life? Are you now different from normal people?
Oh yeah.
And she was like, no. I was like, what? So she's using it as a trend too.
Yeah, so, and this is what we find. We find people who are using it as a trend. I mean, we actually live with spirituals. We live spiritual. We got the crystals. We do the meditation.
It just makes it harder to find other people like you.
Yeah. So we do stuff though that is spiritual. I just want to make that clear, because there's the trend spirituality. There's a real spirituality. There's a spirituality where you meditate. You're trying to go towards a goal. He's trying to go to an astral projection and lucid dreaming and stuff. Me, I've gotten in lucid dreaming without knowing. It just came one night after I did meditations and stuff.
Her main thing that she wants to do that defines that her third eye is open for her is seeing auras.
Yeah.
What defines my pineal gland is open for me is coming out of my body, seeing my actual body like I did when I thought I was dead.
Yeah. So like for us, we're going towards a goal, of stuff. And then through that, we're going to be using our gifts to help people. That's what we're about doing. Yes, our spiritual journeys are different because we had to get out of Christianity first. You have to get away from organized religion, in order to be able to fully be spiritual, Now, how our family and friends feel about it? I don't think they know what to make of us talking about the Bible and stuff like that or whatever. But we found people that actually are like us, that are spiritual, that have gotten away from organized religion and are on a spiritual path. We found people that are like us, and we can only continue on our journeys as we do. And yeah, we've had spiritual experiences. I won't say my third eye is open, but I've had experiences, that would make me think that it is, where it's active when I'm dreaming and stuff or whatever. Or I'll, like he said, whatever he's thinking, I'll think of it. Or I can, send energy to him to send energy to other people, or him to try to help him feel better. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've actually had confirmation that stuff like Reiki, stuff like witchcraft, stuff like astral projection, stuff like lucid dreaming, this stuff is real. Stuff like, the gifts of third eye, that stuff is real. Stuff like readings where you get with tarot and or crystal healings and stuff. This stuff is real. This is real stuff. This is not fake stuff.
The stuff that you guys are looking for in Christianity and the churches, that confirmation, that feeling where you actually feel stuff, not that fake, the Holy Ghost stuff, not that fake where they actually make it seem like the power of God is really moving, because we did that with her 5 times for her to get a job, and they made it look like it was really working, and we really believed them. We was really suckered into it. We really got scammed.
It didn't work. It didn't get a job.
Right.
But yeah.
But it's Reiki was one of the biggest things for me to realize, because I felt it's like you take a whole bunch of cell phones and bury yourself in them, and you all turn them all on vibrate. And so when I was on the table and there was like 7 people around and she was included, and they went like this, they went, using Reiki like that.
Yeah.
I felt this energy I didn't see it. I felt it on from the like a little bit above my head and below my feet and across my whole body. It was like like that. And but then when that happened, that's but you can if you want to go on Under Hero on that channel and check it out. I explain more about that.
And for me,
pretty much that's all I want to say. I'm done this time. Okay. I'm done.
So for me, Reiki was something that I felt too, except it was like heat coming down like one half of my body and stuff like that, real heat energy coming from people and stuff like that or whatever. And Reiki has only progressed me in, myself spiritually and stuff. I still got a lot of spiritual growth and stuff to go, stuff. Who knows where I'm going to be spiritually in 10 or 20 years? I don't know. But who knows where he's going to be with astral projection.
I also work on, this guy named Michael Grubb, who works on aerokinesis and moving the wind, and even like making water ripples. I've been working on that, and it's kind of sometimes it works for me, sometimes it don't. But I'm not trained under him to really get it to work full force. But that is the most realest evidence of spiritual energy being used. You cannot mistake that. Check out Michael Grubb. Don't be disappointed.
And he, for astral projection, he said Terra Nova is really good. She's somebody that talks about her astral projection experience.
And her Kundalini awakening. That's what even got her to astral project in the first place. And she was adopted and stuff like that. If you go
on her channel,
look at her own story. As well. Now, Barry, if you got ET problems, extraterrestrial problems, Barry Littleton, look him up. Go to that guy. And Meditation Bridge, if you've got problems with dead relatives and you need the medium and stuff like that for her. She talks about her astral projection experience is awesome.
So and one also he also practices. He's also into mediumship. He does it quite often and stuff. He does, but he's not a trained medium yet. But he has those abilities or whatever that he has or whatever. So he's gonna be trying to develop those, which you do. He got him, and he just ain't saying he got him. No, he's this. Look, everything about him. He's grown up with paranormal experiences since he was brought into this world, born. To the point where his grandma and his grandpa knew there was something special about him. He's always had experiences. There's nobody like him.
The Men in Black showed up, like these FBI people showed up during my birth.
Yeah,
because as soon as I came out, all these disasters went off. But I talk about all that stuff. I don't really need to explain all that here. This video is super long.
But and what I do is what I'm about working on. So me, numerology is my thing. Working into herbal medicine is also my thing. Essential oils is my thing. Reiki is my thing. Reiki's this thing too. We've dabbled in a whole bunch of stuff. We have. But this is just to give people clarification a little bit about what we mean by it's hard to be spiritual. If you think it's easy to be spiritual, well, maybe you're into the trendy one, not necessarily the real one, because spirituality can cause you to lose family members, especially if they're Christian or they're some really hard, strict religion. It happens. We both are dealing with that. And it's painful. It is painful.
And even though it makes you feel better and you tell them it makes you feel better, they want you to feel like crap again. They do. So it sucks, but they do.
This is what we mean. It's hard to be spiritual. It's not everything's great. I mean, I know in these videos on YouTube, people think, oh, well, if I become spiritual, everything's going to be great. No. There's going to be some things you're going to see, stuff that's going to, that you're going to see, experiences you're going to have. You could lose friends. You could lose family members. You could. Opening the third eye, seriously. And we haven't done it yet, but I've heard from people that when you open your third eye, you are exposed to information that maybe you do not want to know. So if you're trying to open your third eye and stuff like that, just be prepared for the fact that there's going to be some stuff that maybe you're not going to want to deal with.
I've switched. That's another reason why I want to astral project, because
it's going to help you.
Because it'll help me open up my third eye. I just got to say it, It's one of the things that helps you to do something.
I said it in a dream I had to, but this video has been long, but we want to tell people it is hard to be spiritual. It's not something that is easy. If you think it's easy, you're just in for the trendy stuff. You're just in for the general information. And then after spirituality goes out, you're going to be into something. But I will end with this. There is a guy who did say that it does not matter if spirituality is a trend, as long as people are becoming aware. That's not true, because there is counterintelligence. There is information where people are being told like they have Christianity with spirituality being fused in, and people are thinking that Jesus and crystals go together, and they don't.
That was never, ever a thing. Ever. Because if that was, I would still be in the church. Because I never found that throughout the 14 years in all the 12 churches I went to. And I don't mean just in all Baptist churches or all
different types of churches.
I mean Lutheran, Mary, all of them. Okay.
Yeah, so different types. So this is what we're talking about. It's hard to be spiritual. There's some good stuff. There's also some stuff that it makes it hard in your life.
But Jehovah's Witnesses have it the worst. There's a girl named Tamika, and she became spiritual, and she got out of it. She got out of the brainwashing. But when she came out with it and told her people, her parents and her friends, they deemed her to where she's no longer going to be able to see her mom or father or anybody unless she's dead, unless they are dead, only at a funeral, and they still won't be able to talk to you. They have it worse. But we know where they get their stuff from. 1604, 1611 King James Version Bible.
Yeah.
So it's kind of messed up.
Yeah, and
It's really bad.
there's other YouTubers out there like ex-pastor Kevin Wesley. He's out there. There's other ones too, that we have and stuff like that. But like we said, we're about real experience because we're on a spiritual journey, and like Anwan would say, nobody's experience is general. Okay, like you said, you remember you said that
we're not general people. So if you're coming out with general information, that's great for an intro, but
it's not something that's going to help people that really need to deal with something, because
if you're going to come out with general information, that's great. But also include how it's helped you or what it's done for you, so that way you're not just leaving them with nothing, because they still, even if y'all say that's fake, that's Satan, that's the devil, that's fake, y'all fake, y'all ain't true, y'all stereotype because y'all black, or y'all ain't what we say, y'all not
I don't know, legit.
Oh yeah, y'all not legit because y'all black. It doesn't matter, because guess what? No matter all the stuff you saying, that person who may be on the verge of suicide because of what they're dealing with and nobody believes them, and they can't find enough videos because all the trendy ones that's out there, and they can't find the real people because no one's mentioning them and no one's sharing their videos, they still got to go to sleep with that feeling that no one understands them. No matter what you say.
Oh, dude, yeah. I don't.
If you want to how much of a Christian bully or how much of a bully you want to be to these people, they still have to go to sleep wondering why they can see their doggone dead grandma in their room.
Yeah.
Or wondering why, things like this is happening to them. Wondering why they popping out. They may be a natural astral projector. They wondering why they popping out of their body all the time. They're always in a place that looks like they're dead, or they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so realize that when you're sharing general information, you're not doing anything to help anybody. You're really not. There was a guy in the Ryan Carper group. He said, well, he was meditating and he used this crystal. And then his like something happened with his ear where it's hurting worse. And he's like, should I go to the doctor? I'm like, yes, absolutely. I recommend him. Yes, you should go to the doctor. You can be spiritual, but yeah, you can go to the doctor. If it's something going on with you, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Like whoever you are, don't listen to Christians saying that science is of the devil, or they don't believe in carbon dating, or they don't believe in science. Go get you some science and go get yourself help.
Yeah.
Go get you some science pills that took science to get the pills. Go get that and go use that. You want to be okay. You don't want to end up like the exorcism of Emily Rose, where they thought it was a demon because she had epilepsy and it needed to take medicine to help her with that. Okay, or epilepsy, or whatever that was that she had.
Yeah, because her parents thought it was a demon.
A demon. They starved her to death. That's why she looked all skinny like that.
What was that for?
That was the exorcism of Emily Rose, the real one. That was like where I'm at in St. Louis, but don't let that happen to you. Go.
Yeah. So if you guys want to hear more from us, we're on YouTube. He's Anwan Your Hero, and I'm Butterfly Spirit 314. I also have a Facebook page, Butterfly Spirit, that I have or whatever. Butterfly Spirit 314 on Facebook too. If you guys want to hear more from us or something like that, or you want to reach out to us, then you can comment to me. If I have a post, you can comment and ask how you can get to our channels or whatever. We'll more likely share them with you, but we that real deal about stuff. We real deal. We ain't like everything's.
You'll find out when you watch it.
We're not like we're not like, oh, everything spiritual is good. So
Okay.
yeah. See,
Thanks,
so,
Ron Cropper, for making that platform.
yeah,
I really
thanks.
appreciate it. I found out through one of your videos, with
Yeah,
I think it was with the other radio show, the one with the radio show guy, the paranormal or whatever it's called, the dark side of the paranormal, that radio show. Anyway, I want to thank you for coming out with those videos that you have so far, and saying the information that you did. It's gave me some real spiritual insight, and yeah, I want to say thanks. Thanks, Ron Cropper. I'm glad that you exist, bro.
yeah. I appreciate him existing too. So guys, I'm Butterfly Spirit 314 or
And when you're a
Michelle.
hero, I'm out. Bye. Thanks.
See you
thanks for
later,
looking.
guys.
Thanks for watching, y'all.
Oh my goodness, how do I end this video? I think it's your sound.